One thing that we think is very important here at Texas Poitou Donkeys is that all of our donkeys have our microchip. We use a very simple microchip implanter. You can buy them online, pretty easy to find. There are several makers of microchips. Just be sure that the one that you're using is one that can be read by a universal scanner or reader. That's really important. Sometimes you'll find ones that a normal scanner that a vet or equine clinic may not be able to read, and that can become a problem. That donkey may have a microchip and you don't know it because the scanner can't read that particular chip. So we're using a universal chip that is readable by scanners here in the US and in the EU. It's very simple to use. So what I'm going to do is, I've got my young girl here. Her name is Kamala, and she has not been microchipped yet, but needs to be. And we choose an area on the fatty part of her neck to implant the chip. First, I'm going to rub that area really well with rubbing alcohol just to sterilize the area, make sure I'm not getting any germs in her that I need to. And then with this very simple tool, I will make one quick movement and it will implant the chip under her skin and the muscle in her neck. And it should stay there for the rest of her life. They can move around a little bit as the animal ages, but with a little practice with a scanner, you're usually able to find it. And it's incredibly helpful in identifying that animal. If for some reason it's ever lost or stolen, or if you purchased an animal that had a microchip, you're hopefully able to trace that back, find out more about its pedigree and where that animal came from. So we are huge believers in microchipping all of our animals, and hopefully that's going to play into a future U.S. registry as well. Okay, so because Poitou, especially foals, have such a heavy coat, the first thing I do is really try to spread the hair apart so I can get down to skin level, just to make sure that I'm not hitting any major blood vessels and that I am getting the microchip in the area that I want. The second thing I'm going to do is douse the area really well with rubbing alcohol, just to make sure that that area is as sterile as possible. And she may jump a little bit from the coolness of the alcohol, but she's being a good girl and being pretty still. So with that area being sterilized, I'm now going to get my microchip implanter. And it's a very simple device and a very quick movement. Yep. As you can see, it's a pretty stout needle, and what I'm going to do is very quickly jab that into her neck. I'm going to deploy the microchip. It's going to stay in her muscle and pull out very quickly. It's a very quick process, one that you don't want to play around with too much. Voila, done. So what I now do is just to triple check to make sure that the microchip is in position. I've got a universal reader. You can buy these online. Also, sometimes your vet will have one handy that you can either borrow or bring your animal up to be tested. So I'm just taking the microchip reader, scanning it over where I implanted the chip, and the number shows up right there. So what I'm doing with this particular microchip number, which is now essentially the same as Kamala, her name, this will be documented, recorded in her record. So that microchip is specific to this animal. No other animal on this planet will have that same microchip number. So I will always be able to track Kamala by that microchip.